gozaimasu, minasan. Welcome to the first in what will hopefully be a long line of reviews of Naruse Mikio films. And as I noted in my introduction, I'm going to begin with the film that is generally considered, certainly has been argued by some to be his greatest film. It is certainly his most internationally and perhaps nationally acclaimed film. Upon its release in 1955, it won the Kinema Jumpo Best One award. It was voted the best Japanese film of the year. And in a much more recent poll, it was voted the third greatest Japanese film ever made. I should probably state as a disclaimer at the beginning, I don't think that this is Naruse's greatest film, but that says more about me, my tastes, and about how I value other films than it necessarily does about the relative quality or otherwise of this film. It was recently released on Blu-ray by the BFI after an earlier DVD release, so it is widely available. It is current and is the centerpiece of the ongoing New York-based Naruse retrospective. Floating Clouds is the story of a man and a woman who embark on a fleeting, fairly torrid, although the details are not often visualized, affair whilst both are working abroad in Indochina during World War II. Upon repatriation after Japan's surrender and the end of the Pacific conflict, the woman seeks out the man who is married. They continue to meet sporadically. They clearly have very deep feelings for each other, but the woman's need to survive, the man's similar need to provide for his family, as well as his inability to maintain any kind of monogamous relationship, constantly undermines and imperils their union. And Floating Clouds is the story over many months of the way that these characters can't live with each other and can't live without each other, that they can't not love each other, but their love constantly compels them to act in ways that run counter to any kind of harmonious, stable relationship. Now, I have noted elsewhere, writing for my website, culturaljapan.com in particular, that walking is a key motif in Naruse Mikio's films. And I think from this point of view, Floating Clouds is possibly his most representative, perhaps even meaningful film. It's a film in which the narrative takes place in the sort of cracks or interstices of Japanese society. The fact that the man and the woman meet only sporadically, and generally in sort of covert ways, means that they are forever sort of impelled to leave their homes, such as they are. Neither lives in any great comfort. They have very meager dwellings, but they're compelled to seek each other out and compelled to engage in their relationship, kind of in between social spaces, if you like. Their relationship exists on the outside, in some ways in public, just by dint of there being so many scenes that feature them out in the streets, out in marketplaces, what have you. But this kind of public face, this public facade, serves to sort of adumbrate a performativity on their part that constantly means that feelings are being sort of suppressed or withheld, to the point that when they do finally sort of erupt, when the lid can't be kept on these feelings anymore, they come out in ways that, as I've said, run counter to any productive or meaningful relationship. So they're constantly positioned at the confluence of public and private, outside and inside. And as such, scenes in which they are walking, traversing physical space, kind of almost like nomads, like they can't really settle down, suggest something of this confluence, this tension between the facade that they present to each other and in some cases to the world, and the feelings that are buried deep down beneath and that sort of fester beneath the surface. Walking is also here a means to survey the post-war world and present a vision of post-war Japan, which, as I've said, both of these characters are deeply affected by. They are mired in the dire realities, the poverty-stricken realities of post-World War II Japan. And part of the film's depth, part of its interest, lies in the extent to which it probes some of the reasons for their hesitant sort of on-off sporadic relationship. Is it because of their own personal proclivities? For instance, the aforementioned inability not to stray towards other women on the part of the male character? Or are there more pressing social issues? The fact that their affair begins away from Japan, and in which context that it seemed to have a kind of halcyon glow, especially when the film flashes back to these scenes from further on in the narrative. There's a strong contrast between the dirt and the grime of post-war Japan and the sunny rural setting in which the affair begins. But this is potentially, at least, very subjective. This sense of looking back on what has been lost through perhaps rose-tinted glasses is suggestive of the extent to which neither character is really able to be truthful with the other, and indeed to be truthful with themselves. And it's again this interplay between personal, interpersonal and social factors that Naruse probes here. Despite the considerable star power at the heart of Floating Clouds, the fact that the man and the woman are played respectively by Mori Masayuki and Takamine Hideko, this is far from a romantic film. It is, in fact, quite a difficult film to watch, given that it keeps sort of returning to the same bass notes of disillusionment, unfulfilled love, unrequited relationships, struggle, social and personal hardship. It keeps this going till the very end, to the extent that some have made the argument that Takamine's heroine is actually rather a masochistic presence, given that she keeps forgiving the man, that she keeps returning to him, that she can never quite sever the ties that seem to bind them together. Others, including the notable film scholar and theorist Paul Willerman, argue against this and make other persuasive arguments pertaining to this character, and I'll let you find those out for yourself. Ultimately, I think Floating Clouds, which is adapted from a novel by Hayashi Fumiko, one of the 20th century's preeminent female writers in Japan, and a novelist whom Naruse adapted several times for the screen, provides questions rather than answers. It's an open film. It's an ambiguous film in a lot of ways. And I said it's dark and remains true to this sort of germ, at least, of an idea that this couple can never consummate, can never fulfill satisfactorily any real relationship. There is no place for them. And this is, again, something that is visualized and narrativized in the exteriors, the walking, the fact that they seem perennially without home. Therefore, their relationship remains unstable, uncertain, anxious. To my mind, if there is a masochistic tendency in the heroine, it stems more from her feelings about being in love than necessarily directly being in love. That she has equated, however erroneously, some past happiness with this man. And it's almost as though she thinks that she should chase after that, to offer her life some kind of gleam of light amidst a general sense of darkness. And then she sort of keeps throwing bad time after good, if you like. It's almost as though she has devoted so much of her energies into pursuing this relationship that she can't quite commit that to the past and make any sort of a clean break. It's not, I think, ultimately that she is necessarily so overwhelmingly in love that she can't cut him adrift. It's that, what does she have in lieu of this sort of hesitant quasi relationship? And if she feels like she is compelled to actually justify, at least to herself, the time that she has spent with him already and the energy, the emotional energy that she's dedicated to their union. See what you think of Floating Clouds if you haven't seen it. Let me know if you agree that it is Naruse's greatest, and indeed, if it is for you one of the greatest Japanese films ever. Comment below, like, subscribe, or don't like or subscribe, whatever floats your boat. Stay tuned every single day for more Naruse content, and I'll see you the next time.